What is up, guys? Crisis here. I am back in the emblem editor, making one of my favorite, actually probably my favorite superhero of all time, his emblem, and it is Spider-Man. This one took me a little while to figure out, mainly because there aren't enough layers to make the legs the way I wanted to make the legs, so I kind of had to improvise something else. But I think it came out pretty good. I like it. So, anyways, I'll just get right into it. You want to make the background red. I do change the red color later on, and it looks a lot better with the different red. So, I will. You'll see that at the end of the video. Then you want to grab the triangle, flip it upside down, put it in the middle. Grab the circle, put it on top. You have an ice cream cone if you stop right there. Then you want to grab 4 of these things. I don't know what they're called. I use them in every video. I really should learn the name of them. But you just want to use those, shrink them down, and you can make the, I don't know, teeth, horns, antlers, stingers. I don't know what they're called on spiders, to be perfectly honest. Anyways. Then you want to grab, it's the very first emblem, which works out well because everyone has it. I like to make these videos with things everybody will have. So, I am kind of glad that that was the first one I needed. This part takes a while, making the legs. As I said, this isn't how I wanted to make them, but it's how I ended up getting stuck making them because of the lack of layers. There weren't enough to make them out of like multiple. I was gonna make them out of multiple parts instead of just doing like the one logo there, like the one emblem or one layer per leg. I was gonna have like 2 to 3 layers per leg, but you can't because obviously that would be 24 layers right there just in the legs, minus the rest of the body and background. So I couldn't end up doing that. This part takes a while, and this is why I sped the video up to. This is actually twice as fast. It took me about 10 minutes to make this logo. Because doing the legs took me about, I think, 5 or so by itself. And then the background part takes a while. So I did speed this up. But yeah, I think the legs, could be worked on if you wanted to. Obviously, you could just play around with it. It does take a little while to like get them to stretch out and look thin enough and be big enough at the same time. And obviously I don't want the hands. I wanted the square, or the rectangle rather. Now you shrink way down. I made that a darker gray because it seems darker in the background. So I think that was the 3rd one down all the way on the right, and the body itself is the 5th one down all the way on the right. If you want to get the colors that I'm using perfectly. And then this you just flatten out, like thin it down and enlarge it. And it takes me a minute to figure out what I'm doing with this one, to be perfectly honest. And then I'm like, oh hey, if I just scroll down, it actually makes it look right. So that took a minute, but that's okay. And obviously this is covering up the spider, but I just did that because it's easier to put layers at the end and move them down. So I do that near the end. I'll move all the layers down so it's all the background. But back to the legs, I mean, I might tweak it a little bit more and play with it personally, but I think it looks fine the way it is. You could probably get it a bit better, but as I said, without enough layers to make each leg multiple parts, it's not going to be enough. Then I grabbed the semicircle or the half circle or whatever this thing's called. I think it's a half circle, right? No, I don't know what it's called. Anyways, I make that the 3rd one. Or I make that the color 3 down, just like the background that I used. And then play around with that. Again, it's kind of difficult. You want to enlarge it and keep it thin at the same time, which takes me a minute to figure out how to make it still have a curve to it, but also be large and thin at the same time. But it's doable, it just takes a minute. It takes some fooling around with if you're not used to using shapes like these. You want 5 of these, and you want 7 of the rectangles in the background. And then once you get all of this perfect, which I do right about now, yep. Then you just want to take all the layers that overlap the spider. I didn't waste my time doing all of the layers, although if you wanted it to look nice, not the picture, but like your layers thing at the bottom to look nice, I guess you could. But I just did the layers that overlap the spider and moved all of them to the front. There were 3 of the semicircle things and I think 5 rectangles that I ended up moving to the front. So once that's done, you have the spider in the front and the background in the back, which is what you want because otherwise it's not a background. So then I stop right here to try to just look at it and make sure it looks right. And I think it came out fairly good. I do change the background here in a minute, or a couple of seconds, but I think it came out fairly good. So I changed that to a little bit darker, and right there I think that looks pretty nice. So with that, I'm out. Peace, guys.